Welcome to the Release Your Blocks podcast. I am your host, Victoria Bond. I am a spiritual empowerment coach. I help teach others to show up to their potency so they can fulfill their mission here on earth. I'm so glad you are here. And if you are interested in becoming a medium, if you're interested in becoming a life coach, or if you're interested in shifting your life from the 3D to live more in the 5D reality, then check me out, book a clarity call, and let's get chatting. Hey everyone, welcome to Release Your Blocks with Victoria Bond. This is our guest speaker, Melissa Wood. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I was on half an hour early.
So was I. How was that? Now that we're going to talk about energy today, and the interesting thing is we were both sitting on our call half an hour early waiting for each other, and we're like, wow, okay, so yeah, this is going to be dynamic. This is going to be full of consciousness talking, because you are in fact a conscious empowerment coach. You specialize in relationships, but not just the physical relationships, the relationships with sex, with money, with pleasure, with the world, the planet, the universe. I mean, it's very juicy and expansive, the consciousness coaching that you do.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's just expanding more and more, Vic. Like it is all about relationships, like the engagement, the relationship that you have with yourself and the people and the things and the energies and the world and the universe around you, that sort of creates this pleasure and this energy in your life that just expands your reality so much. So yeah, thank you so much for bringing me on today for this conversation. It's always so juicy.
Yeah. And it's really, really amazing. So you've actually been working with me, Melissa, for a few months now, and we've been working very intimately together. And the coolest thing about it is I myself am a psychic medium, and I tapped into these amazing abilities that you have with animals and animal communication. And I was like, Melissa, you've got this stuff going on, and you're like, oh, interesting, I haven't looked at that yet. And then I actually challenged you to tap into my cat, and you gave me an actual reading. She actually, so to give you guys an understanding, so Mel actually tapped into my cat and telepathically understood what my cat wanted to tell me and the purpose of the cat, and what the cat was trying to tell me. So she actually picked up on a tree, a magical tree, which I do have, which isn't actually on my section. It's on the section next door, because we moved to the back section, which of course Melissa had no idea. And there was a whole lot of information from my cat. And then, so animal communication is one of the things that you do as well, which is kind of just, you've tapped into that capacity recently.
Oh, it's so magical too. It's just something that I never even considered before you sort of invited me to that possibility. And it was just so clear, like the channel was so clear and obvious, and the animals I'm noticing more and more around me is just like they're communicating, they have something to offer. And when we're willing to receive the contribution that they be, the gift that they are, there's so much more magic really shows up in my life. Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? We're going to talk about money and sex and pleasure today. And the thing is, we can get paid. I'm sure Monkey, my cat, paid you for that.
100%. I know it. 100%. Yeah.
So let's have a little talk about money and communication. Now, in this reality that we seem to be living in right now, you've done a lot of access consciousness. You're close to being a certified facilitator, and I myself have done a little bit of access. Well, I've been a bars facilitator and facer for a few years, and it's really interesting because it's about playing with possibilities and playing with the possibilities of where money is coming from. So in this reality, like I was going to, where a lot of people haven't done this consciousness work, they think they have to go out and work 9 to 5, and that's the only way to get their money. So what do you know to be true about that?
And that was totally me too, Vic. Like that was that was totally me. I had that point of view for such a long time, and the real energy of having to work hard for your money and having time for money. And the more time you put in, the more effort, the more work, the more hardness that it is, then the more that you're worth for the money that you receive. And I'm just noticing, like, just so much more and more these last 12 months even, is like, that doesn't have to be the case. It really truly doesn't have to be the case. You can have, like, I am just creating and receiving so much wealth and so much money into my life lately, that is just that, like, I've not put hard work into it. It's like it's just showing up as if by magic in all of these different ways. Sometimes it might not be like the physical money in your bank, and that's part of it, yes, 100%, but it's like in the form of gifts, and it's in the form of you know people sort of taking you out for lunch, or and it's also adding, like, recently I bought myself a crystal decanter and crystal flutes, and, like, I didn't pay very much for these things. I really didn't, but the money that they contribute to me is way beyond the $50 that I spent on them. Like, they're worth, I know, a whole lot more than that, but I know that because they bring me so much pleasure, Vic. Like, they bring me so much joy. I love drinking out of them. And I had a friend over last night, and we had a beautiful cocktail in them, and it was just like contributed so much to our bodies and to the moment, and so much joy was received from these crystal flutes. And that is like, in that joy and in that pleasure and in that energy, like, you are receiving so much more than like, wealth has, and money and riches and gold and luxury and all of these energies have don't have an option. Like, they have to show up. There's no other way. Like, when you're being that energy, it has to, more of that has to come into your life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's what we talk about with orgasmic energy. Like, if you are being the $1 million version of yourself, if you are being the infinite being, which I think some people get a little bit confused on sometimes because we've got this programmed and conditioned mind, but when you are being that $1 million version of yourself, when you know it's to be true that you're going to be successful. If you've talked to any single entrepreneur, they had or singer or actress or anyone that's seemingly super successful in whatever area they're in, they had a deep knowing that that's what they were going to do. So there's no other way but that success. And it's the same with money.
There's no other way. There's no other way.
Unless you're sitting in that lower frequency.
100%.
Match.
Yes, exactly. That's where it's at. It's like, it's the choice, it's the energy that you be that creates the reality around you. And it's the choice to be that joy and to be that higher frequency, like you talk about, that sort of, that is more of a creative, generative energy in your life.
And what if you could tap into the possibility for all of those who are very new at this kind of concept, tap into the possibility of, what if I could create double the amount of money that I have now with half of the work? What if I could create a business that I was paid to be me, and all I had to do was show up and have fun? What would that look like?
It's so cool. Like, it's such an exciting sort of concept that a lot of people haven't even sort of dipped their toe into, and it's just like, yes, asking those questions, because there are people out there that are doing that, that are creating that as their life. So like the evidence is there as that being a possible reality that is available. And it's just like, yes, asking those questions that, what else, what would it be like to sort of show up and just be you, be me, and just, and have so much fun and get paid and have people pay you to be you.
Yeah, but no one believes it because the majority of people are slaving away, working their asses off. And the people that have even dipped their toe in, but they haven't dived in, they're looking with their logical, practical brain, their mind, instead of their knowing. They're still functioning from this 3D reality of going, well, let's have a look at the evidence here. Now, if we're looking at polarity, you've got this, all these people are doing this. Now, there's tons of evidence throughout our ancestors' lines. And of course, we receive this DNA from them. And it's like, well, we're going to have to work hard because this is all the evidence. But then if you go, well, what else is possible? And if time isn't linear and we're going forward and we're evolving this fucking fast, we're evolving so quickly, then who's to say we can't? If other people are doing it, look at the evidence around you. If other people are doing it, I've done it, you've done it, everyone around us, and doing it.
Yeah, totally. It's right there. It's a choice, that it's a possible reality that is available, and it's sometimes just some very simple, very simple things that you can sort of shift in your mindset, like a simple shift in perspective, and like releasing something out of your reality, and bringing something
what
in.
are you focusing on, Like, are you focusing on the 90% of the collective, or the 10% of the people that are actually doing it and they're more 5D?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's just focusing on that, the 5D, like the the possibility rather than the problem, the clear pool rather than the sludgy, slimy pool. Yeah, it's just like you can swim in the pristine sort of crystal like see-through water. Like you can't, like it is a possibility, you can do that.
What I love as well is that, like, you can see your mirror in the background. Now, if you're listening on the podcast, you definitely won't be able to see this, but Mella's got a mirror in her background, and I laughed when we first jumped on because I said, oh my God, your mirror looks just like mine. So, I always have a whiteboard marker in my makeup bag. And I write on it. I write on my mirror. I was like, why doesn't every single person in the world write on their mirrors? I don't get this, because it's so blatantly obvious to write on your mirror, because you're going to look at it and you're going to see it, and words have got a frequency. So I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not going for consistent 10K months. That was last year. This year I've like that. So I'm going to go for like, a 6-figure month. Because if you 10x everything and you open up the possibilities, most people haven't even considered having a 6-figure month. No. They don't even consider it. But what if you did consider it? What about $1 million month?
What if that is a possibility? And like we were talking about before, people are doing it. Like it is an actualizable reality that is possible. Yeah.
And it can come from anywhere. Like you could literally get your inheritance, that lost inheritance of that $1 million in that month. You might have got 12 million. There you go. You just got paid $1 million for every month. Now, we don't want anyone to die, of course, but you get what I'm saying. It can come from anywhere. It can come from lotto, but too many people are relying on lotto. So what do you know about that?
Well, it's like, what do I know about that? It's
is it like a distractor?
I get when it is like, it's individual, right? Everyone has their own sort of, it's individual. And I get like it's following the energy. If it becomes, what I know about that is if it becomes like a habitual thing, like you're just sort of entering the lotto. I don't even know how often it runs. I'm not a lotto goer. But if you're sort of entering the lotto week after week after week as a habit, as a habitual thing, hoping that your numbers are going to come up one day. You know, I get that can be sort of a that's like it can be sort of a distractor. It's like, are you following the energy, or is it just more of a habit of sort of got to get my numbers today? You know, do you know what I mean? Like, what if you could, and then how much is the lotto also, or that sort of thing of winning something, if you're right into that sort of area of creation? Is that actually limiting what else could show up? Like, are you relying on the lotto? Are you relying on that something that's going to magically appear like in life? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, is that, this is a question that people need to ask themselves, because it's going to be individual per person. Is like, is this choice limiting me, or is this choice and limiting the possibilities and the wealth and abundance that can come from lots of different places? Or is it something that is contributing? It's like looking at the energy of what it creates inside of yourself with the choice that you're making. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think, is it a limitation or is it a contribution? And because some people that do have the habit of doing that, and there's a lot of wealthy people that do that, even them feeding into the lotto is a contribution, because they're helping to fuel other people's realities.
Correct.
And at the same time, it's like, if you're on the darker side of it, that heavier side of it, like, I've got to buy the lotto because one day I have to win the lotto because this is the only way I'll ever have a fuckload of money, then that can be a limitation because it's not expansive. So it's just really interesting when I tap into that energy of lotto. And what I got from that is, if you're buying it, then you're actually most definitely contributing to somebody else. And maybe that's exactly what you're meant to be doing.
That is such a great point. I'm really thank you so much for saying that, because that's sort of opened up something else for me in my world. Is like it's just everything. What if everything is a contribution, and every single action that we take and everything that we receive into our life, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the beautiful. Let's not forget the beautiful. It's just like, what if every single thing is a contribution, even if it doesn't like feel like it even if you don't feel it, but what if it actually is? Do you know what I mean? It's just,
well, it's like that asshole who dumped you, you know, like that client that was a pain in the ass that one time, or the friend who was all of a sudden just like, you know, we've all had friend breakups, you know, and in our lives. That's the whole point of relationships. We've got to learn how to work together. And it's just like, when you look back and you can see the contribution and the gift.
Yeah.
The gift of what that was. What if everything was actually perfect right up until now, and that those soul connections that we had with those people, those beings or those entities or whatever, what if that was all a contribution? Like, I'm looking back at people that have triggered the living daylights out of me, and especially in this like last 5 years, and I'm looking back with nothing but copious amounts of joy and gratitude. Like, I'm like, how can I love that person? That person did A, B, and C. And now I'm like, oh my God, I think I love you more than the people that were kind to me, because the gift you gave me with, you know, the underlying essence of what that soul was teaching me was so much greater, and it propelled me into more consciousness. So what about, you know, being broke and the lessons, let's switch into money, the lessons that we receive from being broke and what that gave us versus what it means to all of a sudden when you've got money.
Yeah. It's just like, it's all like, it's all a gift. It's all a contribution. And it's like, are you willing to ask a different questions, like, what's right about this? What contribution is this being that I haven't considered? Yeah.
What is the mirror? What is the mirror here for my growth?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so expansive. And then asking for wealth, asking for health, asking for relationships.
And this, I love this ask conversation. It's just like continuing to to ask, and because the door can't open unless you're willing to ask for it. Like it's not a possibility unless there is a space and a willingness for you to ask. And so how much more money could we ask, and wealth and luxury and all of those energies can we ask for to have show up in our life? And there's a magnet that I love that I have had for a long time, is like shoot for the
stars.
Shoot for the stars, or shoot for like
shoot for the stars and land on the land land on the moon.
It's just like just like make your asks so big, and then if you don't get right out there, that's okay. You're still going to get a long way out.
That's why I said, I'm aiming for 6-figure months with ease and 7-figure years. And until yesterday or this morning when I wrote that, it was like, not me. That's for other people. And that's where we're getting stuck in these limitations, is thinking, I'm not the 5-figure coach who makes it a month. I'm not the 6-figure or the 7-figure, but you fucking are whatever you want to be and whatever you're choosing to focus on.
Yeah. And you worked with me a lot on that. Like, you have worked with me a lot on that, especially in the beginning of our sort of your coaching with me. And it sort of has done a 360 from where I was at to where I am now in working with you, Vic, is like I don't even recognize that person that I was. Like, it's a complete shift and a complete change, and it's just and it's not what you're offering to the world. It's like the energy that you'll be when you're willing to show up and be you. That's what people are attracted to, do you know? And like what you say, you deserve everything that you're willing to ask for.
It's not about the structures and strategies. Now, that is an important part of it when you're like, of course, when you're stepping in to being, when you're expanding your container, you require those systems, so then you can start, of course, having things manageable, a lot more manageable. As you are growing your bigger business, we hire teams, and we upgrade all of the free apps to, like, for instance, with when we are doing Calendly, and there's different things like Canva, and we upgrade these different systems so we can have more capacity. Like, we can expand our capacities even more, and we can reach more people. That's just a no-brainer. We're always supported. But to get to that point, it's really about, and it always has to continue, about being in that pleasure. So what I do, and I know this is what you do as well, Mel, is we focus on the pleasure. We focus on the relationships with the money and relationships with sex. And sex, we talk about this in Access Consciousness. It's not just about copulation. It's not about the physical sex as much as it is about having giving and receiving with life.
Yes, absolutely. And this is really where it's at for me, and the coaching that I do is like really expanding on those relationships with yourself, and being and receiving that sort of that pleasure into your life, like, and being willing to experience it and have more of it. And that is like, those energies create the money. Like, the money is drawn to that. It's just like, or whatever it is that you're asking for, those things that you're asking for often is like the pleasure. Like, if you're being pleasure, those things are magnetized to you, to that energy that you are being,
because you're lighting up. And like, if you think about an orgasm and orgasmic energy, it is a pure natural energy. So of course we have natural chemicals, and it's pleasure, it's ecstasy. Who hasn't done ecstasy? You do that so you can be in the state of pleasure, but we can be in that state naturally, like this. Like, you and I have had conversations where you're like, I'm outside sunbathing naked and I'm in so much pleasure right now. And I'm like, yeah, man, this is so cool. Go share this stuff. It's amazing. Here I am talking to you. I'm doing my makeup naked. And it's like, and the normal, you know, rest of the world is like, what the fuck? That's not very professional. You need to be looking at Facebook ads. It's like, no, if you're naked right now, are you going to go make money by sitting in the sunshine? Yes, I'm going to make money. Not because I'm, you know, taking nudie photos or anything, but because I'm inviting in the nature. I'm inviting it all in. And I don't know, for me, I made like, I don't know, like 7K one day. I was at the beach with my husband and I was like, we need to go to the beach now because I feel I need to go to the beach now. I'm a projector in human design and I am very much a mermaid. So that's my pleasure, going to the beach. I'm on the beach, and then we went and lay on the grass, and we were like just like breathing in the sun and smelling the grass and hearing the beach. And then I looked at my cell phone and I had 7K worth of sales. And my husband, Luke, looked at me and he goes, holy shit, you're right. When you come to the beach, you make money. And I said, when I come to the beach, I make money. Now, I want to just point out as well, like, you can't just go to the beach and, you know, do not that take all any day. Other actions. So there's a divine masculine as well as the divine feminine. So it's about taking the right. When you said about the lotto, it's very much like, so is this a contribution to me right now? So is the beach a contribution, or do I require to do some divine, you know, masculine energy stuff? So I'm very aware of that balance as well.
Yeah, totally. And like I listened to one of your galactic white coding meditations this morning, and I know I sent you a message the other morning, cause like I was singing and dancing and around my garden, my plants, like completely stuck yesterday, and I was just in so much joy, and I like recorded this sort of fun money song that I sort of created, and it was just, and it's just like the joy, Vic, like the joy, and that is like the energy that brought up, and it's just like, I know that was an action that was also like an action toward creating more wealth and financial abundance in my reality. Like, what if that can be an action, and like what you said, and you going to the beach and you indulging in those pleasurable activities that you and your body love so much, like that's like what if all of those were actions too to creating what it is that you're asking for?
What would create more for myself, for my clients? And I know I had this awareness. I was like, what would create more in my business to really hit these, you know, these 6-figure months, and to get my galactic light coding out there, because this is next level stuff that's coming through here. And how can I be that space for other people to choose something even greater? Like, I know you've got a money program coming out, and I was like, I'm going to go away and I'm going to be with my husband. I'm going to go away. I'm going to stay somewhere for the night. It's just for the night. I work before I go and I work when I get back, because I was doing galactic light coding. I was recording it, and I had 3 baths in like 12 hours with a luxury, like these beautiful bath bombs that my friend makes. And we sat there eating brownie. We ate in bed. We watched like 3 movies. We just, we didn't leave the room. Like, we were just like, let's just be. Let's just be. And we talked about our future, and we brought it into our quantum field of having this beautiful home on the hill. And we discussed it, and we talked about what type of floors we wanted and what type of spa and bath we wanted, and bringing that into our reality is not limiting. It's just bringing it in, and it may not come about as we said, but I'm a specific manifestor in human design as well, which means that the more I actually go into details, the more that seems to show up, which is totally nuts. But I've got evidence of that in my life. So if you're listening to this or watching this, you'll know that you've done this yourself. You've created the abundance around you, but you've also created the abundance of not so great energies as well. It goes both ways. We're not just like, I want good, I want good, I want good. It's not about that. It's about going, what would create more right now?
100%. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, what would create more? And knowing that, like, yeah, do you have an abundance of negative thoughts? Do you have an abundance of sort of um, energies that sort of are diminishing and restricting and contracting? It's just like, what if you can change that up? What if you could create abundance that is more of an expansive energy? Yeah. So it's asking these questions that sort of expand your reality, isn't it?
We're not taught to ask questions either. So
no, we're not.
Yeah, so it's retraining yourself, because I know when I first learnt bars and access consciousness and asking questions and doing clearings, was being dyslexic, that was a lot of jumble for me. And now I can do it very, very well, because I've put my practice. I've just practiced and practiced and practiced, like mediumship and channeling. I've practiced questions and clearing. I'm an entity clearer. And it's very much about going, okay, so what question do I have? What question do I have that I could ask, which would create more straight away? Totally. And then you go, how else can I ask questions? Oh, okay, cool. What would it take for me to double the money I have? Oh, okay. So talking about money, you know, like I found 40 cents today. It's actually sitting here on paper. And so I'm like, 40 cents. Hello, 40 cents. It's actually, I've still hidden. I must get it out. And then to play with that money and go, hello, money, I love you. What would it take for this to be times by 20,000 of these 20 cents coins? And then, like, when you play with this, all of a sudden you can literally have, this has happened to me literally a few years ago. I had like a top drawer full of cash, thousands of dollars full of cash.
That's awesome.
It was enough to do my foundation course. And then what I realized was, I'm so bright, I'm so clever, I've created all this money. And I sat there in the foundation class so smiling, and I said, guess what? I had just enough, and I had 3 cents left in my bank account. And I thought, oh my God, I'm so clever. And now I've got like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. And it's only a few years later. And then I realized in that moment that I'd been limiting myself to just having enough. And many of us are still functioning from that paradigm.
Absolutely. And it's just many like what if the people listening could, and myself and all of us included, it's just like asking for always more than enough. And this is what I love talking about in my group as well. It's like asking, what if you could have even like way more than enough of what is required? And like I've got on my mirror over there, it's just like asking for my bank accounts to always be overflowing and receiving even more, and you know, and my purse bursting with cash. It's just like constantly. It's like, what if it never runs out and continues to grow?
Yeah, I actually carry money. Like I know a lot of people carry a lot of money and they wear lots of jewelry and stuff. I think I've only got like $50 sitting in there right now, but I'm always like, and I said to my husband, because we ended up with some cash money, and I said, look, we put some in the bank, and I was like, hey, you carry this, I'll carry this, and this isn't for us to spend. This is just so every time, you know, this is the reason why I do this, is because I have been so broke most of my life that if I had $50 in there, I'd want to spend it, or go, oh, I can go out for lunch, I've got $50. But now I go, do I want to go out for lunch? Because I know I can.
Yes. And what sometimes would contribute like, the most? Yeah.
Yeah. What would, and I'll be like, I don't really feel like going out for lunch. I actually feel like going home and having a toasty and a sleep.
Yeah.
So just because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend
it. Exactly. And what if having the money is like a bigger, more expensive contribution than the things that you're spending it on? Like I know that's something that I've been aware of, or something that I've like a penny has dropped not that long ago, is like, what if like actually having the money, like having the money in your accounts and in your life and in your purse, and having the cash there, and that what if that is like the things that you buy? You know, it's just like, instead of buying something, it's like, keep the money, like have the money. It's just like it's a contribution, right? So Yeah, you don't have to spend it. What if you can just allow it to contribute more to your life, living a reality that is um, beyond the thing that you could spend it on. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how many people, I included, every payday I'd go to farmers and I'd start buying stuff on the clearance thing, put it away for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'd do all this. I end up spending way more on Christmas than I would if I just went, right, get $500, go out, buy the family presents, right?
Yeah.
So and have fun and buy things that are not on special necessarily. So I mean, the top I'm wearing now was, I think it was like $150 or something, and I got it down to 30, and I was stoked because I love a bargain. I was like, thank you, Top. So grateful for you. Now I pay full price for my hats. I paid full price for many, many, many things now, but I used to never ever think I was worthy enough of having full price items because I'm not the type of person who goes and spends hundreds of dollars on Doc Martens or fancy makeup. I'm the girl who only is worthy of having things when nobody else wants them and they are on the 90% off.
Yeah, it's just like, no, thank you. You can have anything that you desire, you know. We can all have anything that we desire, whether it's on the 90% off rack or on the 100% on rack.
Totally. And a question I ask now is, do I truly want this? I always ask, do I truly want this? Because with this top, it was a bit of a challenge. I was like, do I only want this because it's like $130 off, or am I wanting this because I like it? And I was like, is this top gonna,
to you, makes you feel good.
is it going to contribute to me? Do I love it? And today I wore it and I just said, I love my top. I love my hat. This is going to make me money because I love it. It's another example of that is my husband said to me one day, hey, can I please buy this motor? I don't know much about cars, but they bring him joy. Right. And I said to him, okay, well, will this make you money? And he goes, well, no, because cars don't usually make you money. Like, you know, and I went, no, but will it bring you joy? Because joy will bring you money. And he goes, oh, it'll bring me so much joy. And I said, thank you so much for asking me, because obviously, you know, we're together. It's our money that we share. And I said, if it's going to make you money and bring you joy, of course you're going to go buy it. Go ahead. And he just looked at me and he goes, I really like this version of you, because I'm not like, we can't spend it. I was like, well, if you can find the money, if we have the money, if it's going to bring you joy, go do that, because that is what's going to make you money.
Correct. That's what's going to make you money. Yeah, that's what's going to bring more money in. Absolutely.
Pleasure. Like you said, pleasure and joy. And how many of us turn off our sexual organs? How many of us turn off our bodies? How many of us die to get away from our bodies being used and abused? How many of us are functioning from, if I don't show up, if I don't shine, then no one will see me, therefore I'm safe, instead of actually empowering themselves to be money, to be pleasure, to be sex? Now, I understand that we have this mindset stuff where we can be abused in all areas, of course. But what if we opened our possibilities and acknowledged that we were the strongest being in our reality, and in fact, it was our reality? Just playing with that concept, playing with the molecules of that.
I know, and it brings up this this sort of moment I had laying in bed this morning. It's just like I was writing in my journal, and I'm just so appreciative and so grateful for the reality and the space and what I see around me, and I could perceive, like I could feel the orgasmic energies in my body by this gratitude, by like acknowledging what I've created and what I'm receiving and what's around me, and the like receiving from the birds and the trees and the garden. It's just like my body, and I was noticing my body was like orgasm doesn't have to come just from, you know, having sex. you can have orgasmic energies like from that receiving and from And that's what I was noticing in my body. It was just like my body was sort of orgasmic. Yeah.
I know that
Just
exact feeling. Like
feeling.
I'll be walking along. It's just the same with anxiety. So there's a light and dark for everything. So I'm walking along, and I got some news today about one of my clients who has deceased with a new body, and I was just like, oh, that's. And I don't like to feel sad for people because I want to be a contribution, of course. So it's a high frequency. But I'm walking along, and I was like, what is this slight sinking feeling in my body right now? Oh, that's right, because I just found out that my client slash friend has to go under, chemo and radiation, and that does have an effect on our bodies when we hear something like that. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't have much of a physical reaction because I know that I can be a contribution in other ways. And so that's tapping into that, which is that kind of that lower frequency of it. But then the other feeling of it is you're walking along and you're feeling like your clitoris, and you're feeling your tummy, and you're feeling your arms, and you're feeling your face, and you're feeling your eyes, everything's smiling and tingling, and you're like, okay, I'm like tingling all over, even my toes are tingling. What is going on right now? So there's that other energy of that, which is the opposite to that kind of sinking, sad feeling. And it's like, hang on, what was I just thinking about? And I had that this morning and last night. I was like, oh, what am I thinking? What was I just thinking about? Because I'm turned on. And I was like, I was thinking about my program, galactic light coding. Oh my God, yes. And to me, that's like this sign, this path, we are lighting this way with orgasmic energy. And it's like when we're talking about money and money codes and DNA shifts and expansiveness and money coming in from all areas and being in pleasure, some people go, yeah, no, thanks. That's way too out there for me. And other people who are willing to receive it, even if they're willing to play with it, they start getting evidence, because the beings, the birds, the trees, the animals, the ancestors all desire for the pleasure that you be. And for you to be the contribution to the world that you are truly meant to be, which doesn't mean anything other than that, like actually being you, you'll be paid. It's like that simple, but people cannot get their conditioned minds into that.
Yeah, it's like it is, and people like yourself and the work that I'm doing, and lots of other people that I know out there. There's like that sort of are inviting, like the energies that we be, that you're willing to be in being you, is like invites people to explore what you're talking about a lot more, and to go into that space a lot more and allow it to contribute. So there are so many people out there that that haven't sort of put their toes in, but the more that people are willing to be themselves and to show up and to and to step into who just themselves without any filters, any barriers.
It's that simple, but it's that hard, because it's the easiest thing to do in the world. So it's so fucking hard.
It's the most funnest thing too.
It's like, if you could be 3 years old again, who would you be? Go be 3. Go be 3.
And that was the energy that I was being yesterday. I was dancing naked around my garden, singing songs. It's just
and that's when you know that someone's in joy. Like, I love hearing Luke in the kitchen. I said to him when we went away, I said, did you know, like, you've only sung, like, he loves Elton John, and he plays all this really cool old school music while he's like making the kids lunches and making coffees for us and doing dinner and the dishes. Like, he definitely does a lot of that stuff now in our relationship, which is great. So I can show up in a different way. And I said to him, you've only sung in the last 9 months. We've been together for 20 years, and you've only sung. And he's singing, and Adelie, our daughter, is laughing, and she goes like, Daddy, I love it when you sing. And it's like hearing our our house vibrant. And this, he's a generator in human design, and so are you, Melissa. So generators, like when they are on fire, they are magnetic. Everyone wants to be around you. When you're not, it's like, oh my gosh, your energy is so intense.
Yeah, and I've definitely played in both realms, both of those realities.
Yes, that's a sign. What are the signs of us, being in joy? I know for you, it's, dancing around naked in the sunshine. And for me, it's like going to the beach and singing with my kids and dancing and just being this kind of energy of joy. And you don't need alcohol to be that. Like,
you don't. Although I do really enjoy a glass of wine occasionally.
Yeah, but you don't need it to get to that point. It's not about will this wine be a contribution to me? It's not like I need to drink this to drop my barriers. That's a different energy.
It's totally different energy. Yeah, absolutely. And the other, like, this money program that I have sort of coming up is like, that just brings so much, like when you're talking about your galactic light coding, and you're like, whoa, what was I thinking about? Oh, I was thinking about that. It's what sort of, and that's the same thing with my money program that's coming up. It's just like bubbling up inside me, and it's like, it's so much joy just thinking about it. And it's
been landing for a while. It's been landing for a while, this money program. It's been landing, and it kind of was coming in and out of it's always, these ideas and stuff are always in our vortex, but just like with my light language, it was sitting there. And same with magnificent mediumship and relational blocks. These programs just sit there, and I'm like, are they ready? And I ask questions about that as well. And then all of a sudden, boom, your money program just landed. And that is when you were at the point, I hope you don't mind me saying, like, as your coach, but that was the point when you were not using your brain, when you came down into your heart, because you already know everything. You're like a money queen. So when it came down into your heart and then came out, and you're knowing throughout this G center, I saw it come out, and you were like, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, yes, don't think, don't go into analyzing, because that's what we all do. That's why we have coaches, Our coaches go, okay, no thinking now take aligned action. What would create more for you? And all of a sudden, it landed magnificently. And I know you're the same as me. Even if no one showed up to these programs, we would still fucking do them.
100%.
Because they're that generative, joyful. So the money program is coming out soon.
It is. And it's sort of already being it's already being created. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like it's an engagement. So it's called the co-creating with the being of money. And so it's like this engagement and this communication, this communion with the being of money that is more along the lines of having this this relationship with money that like, what if you could have a relationship with money that was like your lover? Like, you love being around each other, you love you enjoy each other, you want more, and all of this, and you're grateful for each other, and you have a level of vulnerability and openness. And it's just like this program is all about sort of and developing and having a greater relationship with money than what you currently have, and greater than what you can imagine. And then the money, and then your financial reality, and the money is like, and how it shows up and bees in your life is then the byproduct of your relationship with it. And that's just like,
and I love what you said before about releasing, because that's, as you know, I've got my program Release Your Blocks, and it's a release, receive, and perceive are the three pillars that I always utilize everything on. And money is always a part of all my programs too, because money is a huge part of living, because we have a human body. And I love when you were saying, releasing stuff so you can receive, because if you've got points of views and considerations and judgments about what money is, then how are you going to receive more? It's like going, am afraid of men and relationships. And then you go, but I want a man in a relationship. You're going to have a toxic relationship.
I mean, really? Exactly. Yeah. It's just like, and that's what, and you Release Your Blocks program that you do, Vic, is phenomenal. And it just sort of, and it's like clears out, like it clears those spaces and places and points of view and belief systems and patterns and programs and all of that, so that you can sort of allow more receiving into your life. And yeah.
So your money program isn't just about how to, just like being a coach isn't just about the structures and strategies and systems, it's about being the money and having the relationship with the money. Healing and releasing are the points of views.
Yes, definitely. And a lot, and it can be a lot easier than what a lot of people think. And this is sort of the energy of having ease with money, or working hard for money, releasing your points of view and letting go of your belief systems. It could either be easy or hard. It's just that's an option.
It's a choice, isn't it? It's a choice.
Yeah, exactly. And so and yeah, like I lost where I was going with that, but it is a choice, and you can have greater ease and greater pleasure with this whole journey and this whole adventure.
I think a lot of it, for those listeners, is about unleashing yourself and having the balls to go, what would happen if I did sunbathe in the sun naked? What if I did allow my partner to see me in all of my glory, and I showed up even though I was scared? What if I spoke my truth and I followed the thing I really desire to be? What if I did go for those 6-figure months because I know I'm worthy of that? What if I could work 3 hours a day and be a millionaire?
What if, and it's playing with the what if game. Like how many people sort of play that worst case scenario what if game and play the game that you're talking about, that what if game of like, what if I could have this and do that and choose that, and what if I could have way more than enough and all of this. And
what if my sex could get better and better and better? What if my body could get better and better and better? What if my finances could get better and better and better? What if my bank account could get better and better? What if I could have some amazing fucking relationships with people all around the world that was such a contribution that no one had the motives and agendas and like all of that stuff? And that's the thing, when we're playing with coaches like yourself and myself, when we're in each other's realities, it's only ever a contribution.
It is only ever a contribution. That's 100%. And it's like, for me, like having a coach, and this is what I talk to the people who I coach as well, who are my one-on-ones. It's like having that person and in your life and in your reality and in your space, and like you say, in your vortex and energy field. It's just like having that coach there. They have your back. They're there to support you. You know that they're on your team, and even while you're sleeping, that person is contribute, like you are in that, they are in you, whoever, they're in your energy field. They're continually, that coach is continually,
and they don't have the motive
contributing to you.
They're literally, it's just like your spirit team, right? So a coach is like your spirit team. When you hire a coach and the coach is the right the right coach for you, and you feel like you've got this soul connection, you know straight away that person holds a space for you with no judgment. So the person doesn't have the motives or agendas. They're not. Some friendships can have motives and agendas, and there's tall poppy syndrome, and they don't want you to expand bigger than them. But if you have a good coach, the coach will be like, you know what, sweetheart, if you fucking if you what is the word?
Outcreate
me. I'm going to be fucking stoked.
Yeah,
I desire for you to outcreate me in whatever area is your capacities and your potencies, because I'm over here with mine, and together we're more. And it's really about, there's no comparing. There's enough money for everyone.
And there's no way to actually even, like, comparing yourself to somebody else is like you're always going to come up losing on that, because you cannot, each person is so dynamically individual and on every level. And it's just like, if you try and even consider comparing yourself to somebody else, you are going to fall up short, because there is no way that you can be like that person or them like you, because it's like, and if you even try, that's when you sort of start bending, folding and mutilating yourself to create yourself as somebody else, when it's not true.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of this in the world, and I don't know about you, Melissa, but I know that I was that person who got to 33 and went, oh fuck, I know nothing about myself, because I've been playing in others' realities, and most of us do this.
I totally I 100% have done this, and I have to, and I'm aware of it when I still do it occasionally. Like, I'm not sort of quote unquote cured from that thing. It's just like, but having a greater level of awareness of when I am doing where I am buying into it, and then going, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, like, oh, thank you for that awareness that I'm doing that. Thank you, ego, for showing me that I just dove into business realities to try and prove my worthiness or my value, because they seem to be doing it better than me. So I thought I would try and do that. It doesn't work the same. But what are the capacities within myself? Because we can't see ourselves as much as we can see others. Now, I know that's true for me. So I can dive into somebody else's reality and give them a reading, but I tell you what, it's really fucking hard to read for myself. Same with coaching. You can coach yourself, of course, but the reason why I have a high level coach, the reason why you have a coach, and the reason why you coach others as well, is so people can hold the space for us to show us our blind spots with it. We have unconsciousness with, and not only that, it's not that we're not going to get to the destination without the coach. We just help to accelerate them so they can get there. So for instance, people that come into your money program, they may get there a year faster than if they did it themselves, which took maybe 10 years. I don't know, maybe 10 years faster. And that's what I find that's happening right now with consciousness, is the more I bring in people and invest in myself, the fucking more I get. It's just fast.
Exactly. And the minute the minute I invest, the millisecond I invested in you, Vic, is just like it's so my whole reality changed. Literally, my whole reality changed, and it continued to change. And this is what I say, this is what I share, like when you say yes to someone like a coach, or when you say yes to that, you're saying yes to you. You're saying yes to the creation of what is required to have that coach. You're saying yes to your dreams. You're saying yes to what you're asking for. And even if it is a leap, like I fucking leapt into your coaching, and I had no idea how it was going to show up. And there's lots of other things that I'm leaping into.
You unleashed. You leaped and unleashed, because you said, I'm just going to fall and I'm going to unleash, and I mean fall in a good way. And then you had moments, and I had the same thing of, I don't know who I am, what planet I'm on, what is going on. And it's like faith and trust and surrender in who you are, letting go of all the identity of who you fucking thought you were going to be.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you come up like, whoa, 5D.
Yeah, totally. And me, and having me, and more of me, like every single freaking day. And like everything, it's just like my reality keeps getting greater and greater and greater, and I realize that, yeah, when you do choose that, when you do leap, when you do choose to have faith and trust in the universe, when you do act sometimes like in a really uncomfortable, really freaking uncomfortable way, and have that level of trust in the universe, in those leaps and in those sort of choices to say yes to yourself, like saying yes to you is just like such a gift. It's such a gift. Yeah.
Thank you. And the people that come into your reality too, like you find that people are always pushed. So for me to work with my coach, I had to find 5 figures very fast because I had to pay in full. And I was like, I kind of feel like that's impossible, but I felt that orgasmic energy and I was like, fuck, I have to do this. And I've done that now, like I've done it like 3 times with her, and every time I've done it, and I always tap back in what would create more for me now. So I always reassess and readjust everything I do daily. And then I was just like, I had like a 60K month, and then it was, but it doesn't make any sense. None of it is meant to make sense. But like you say, Melissa, it's leaning in through that threshold and going, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust me. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust the universe.
Yeah, exactly. Just and know that the universe has your back, and know that consciousness has your back. And the more that I've developed this level of intimacy with myself in the last little while, is just like the more that I have my own back, that I have my own back, the more that I'm allowing myself to receive that from others, and that from the universe, and that from
totally.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what every good coach as well, you included with your clients, we can sometimes get codependent clients. There's all different levels of codependency, of course. I don't work with people that are super codependent, because I work with people who have already done quite a lot of work. So a lot of the times when clients come and they're codependent, there's always a level of it, and it's about empowering them, just like you're a conscious empowerment coach and I'm a spiritual empowerment coach. We're very similar in what we do and how we play, and it's really about empowering them to have their own back. And that means when my coach said I require 5 figures now, and I'm just kind of like, I'm choosing this, and it's going to stretch me. It's going to stretch me and stretch me and stretch me. You don't want a coach where you're like, oh yeah, no worries, it's just nothing. You want to be stretched. You have to be stretched. You've got to be pulled and stretched and going, I'm going to lean back and I'm going to embody faith. What would faith do?
Totally. And then it's also, it's creating the evidence, that the universe really fucking has your back, and it's creating the evidence of what of your new reality, of new belief systems, of new, because like that evidence of that other stuff that's no longer serving has been so apparent. And it's just like, what new choices and what new levels of faith and trust can I step into now that would create different evidence,
familiar, because it was being broke was familiar. Being broke and being woe is me, victim mode, codependency. A lot of my clients are always leaning on the codependency, because I'm codependent. I'm not narc, I'm co. So I'm always about the other person and would beat myself up more than I would, more than a narcissist would. So it's really interesting, because it's like at the end of the day, it's like trusting yourself so damn much, and just going, okay, I am here to rise, I'm here to be, I'm here to shine. And it's just it's so good.
It's so good.
So making them more familiar of having money just roll into my bank every fucking day is familiar. it's a no-brainer that everyone's going to buy my money program because it's so fucking good. It's a no-brainer that the money is going to land because I get paid from everybody and everything, including the entities and the trees and the birds and the animals. So why would I ever doubt myself? And if that's more familiar than the whole I'm a victim, I'm broke, and why does this shit always happen to me? If that's you're more familiar with that, and that feels safety because you're not shining, then that's what you're going to get.
And that's what you're going to get. And that's okay if you want to play that. Like, that's okay if you want to play that. And it's not right, it's not wrong, and nor is this over here. It's not right, it's not wrong. It's just like, what reality and what reality do you actually want to live in this life? What feelings do you actually want to have in this life? You know, and
if that's going to create more, like, if being in victim mode, we have wonky days, like
100%. Like, and that's when I reach out to you. It's just like, help.
Because then I did this with my coach. I'm like,
your coach.
Whoa, and that's what they're there for, is to hold the space while
100%.
you're going through wonky, and you've got to trust and have faith that if you speak this wonky out, there's no judgment. There's just like, I've got you. I'm holding you through this because you're up leveling, and everything is the opposite of what it appears to be.
And it's all okay. And it's all okay. It's all part of it. Yeah.
Beautiful conversation. Thank you so much, Melissa. So how can we find you, Melissa? So what is your Facebook called? We'll be popping it in the show notes, of course.
Thank you. So Conscious Empowerment Life Coaching is the name of my group. So that's the best place to find me at the moment. And what else is possible? Getting myself out there more and more, discovering new ways. So but at the moment, there's my group.
Beautiful. And the thing is, as well, is one thing I've learned very recently is it doesn't matter if you have one platform or 28 million platforms. It doesn't matter if you have all the systems set up. It doesn't matter, if you have 28 million programs or one, because at the end of the day, I have defied all odds of what so many coaches have said about having a massive following, because I don't. But I'm continuously reselling. So Facebook groups are amazing. And I know you do have a website as well. Is that up and running at the moment?
No, it's not quite finished. So I'll probably leave that for now. But the best, and I love the group because it's like an engagement, and that's where it's at for me. I really love engaging with people and communicating and talking with them and helping them and just like having this backwards and forwards sort of conversation.
And it's free content.
It's all free content. Yeah,
it's a contribution. I have, like, the size of the podcast. The podcast, I get messages every day. I've had these thousands and thousands of downloads, and people are like, I don't know them, and they message me and go, thank you so much. My life has changed because I've listened to your podcast. Yeah. And it's the same, like any free content, you get paid for doing free content.
It's just like, it's going to happen, it's coming in, and it is coming in, because I know for me, like, even this call with you today, I've had so much fun, and it's just so much fun. So
we were here half an hour early, and we were having so much fun. Our beings were like being drawn to each other.
100%. It's just like, I know that I'm going to get paid for this, and you too, in like copious amounts. And it's just it's just like bringing yourself back to what lights you up, what makes you feel good, what gives you pleasure, and including those things into your life and choosing them.
Choosing. So money, sex, and pleasure. I hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as we have enjoyed showing up. We could literally talk for another 5 hours, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, guys, go check out Mal's Facebook group, because and check it out in the show notes, because if you're not ready for the money program, you can, being in her vortex will get you ready. Also check out my group, Holistic Energy Shifting, of course. And if you want to reach out to Mel or myself, you can do so. Thank you for this conversation, Melissa fucking Wood. You are the shiz.
Thank you so much, Vic. I've just had, it's just been amazing. So grateful for you.
So grateful for you too, and for everyone that's listening. So we'd love to hear your feedback on this. So feel free to, if you're listening on a podcast, to go give us a review or a star rating. And remember, you can share these. These are on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. There's a little button that says share, copy the link, send it to your friends, anyone who you know wants to bring more money and who has triggers around sex or pleasure or money, because this here, just even the vortex of Melissa and I speaking is enough to change your realities by being in this vortex.
Yeah.
Yay.
Amazing. Thank you, Vic.
Thank you for being here, Melissa, and we will see you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining the Release Your Blocks podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear from you. So please leave a review and tell me what your favorite takeaway from today was. There is so much more from where this came from. You can also find me at Holistic Energy Shifting on Facebook, where you can find more content, more coaching, and more guidance. Have a grand and glorious day, and I'll see you next time.